Tyler smiled when he saw me. That same smile as always. But I couldn't smile back, because behind him, standing on the sidewalk, were his parents. Mrs. Mason waved with that cold hand, and Mr. Mason just stood there, motionless, watching. "Can I come in?" Tyler asked. I nodded silently and stepped aside. When he entered, I looked over my shoulder one last time before shutting the door and locking it with the chain. He took off his shoes and dropped his backpack on the couch. Until then, everything seemed too normal. "You look nervous," he said, heading to the kitchen. "You okay?" "Just a weird feeling. I don't think I slept well." He shrugged, grabbed a glass of water, and changed the subject. But no matter what we talked about, the feeling wouldn't go away. Night came, and with it, the silence of the house. The night started off calm. For the first time in days, I felt a little safer. Tyler was there, lying on the mattress beside my bed. We talked for a while about silly things, like we used to before all this. For a moment, it was like nothing strange was happening. Without even noticing, we fell asleep. But as usual, something had to ruin the night. We woke up in the middle of the night to noises in the house, hurried footsteps and whispers. My heart nearly jumped out of my chest again. "It's the Masons," I thought, but relief washed over me when I recognized the voices. They were my parents. I ran out of the room. My mom was in tears, completely frantic. My dad was carrying my little brother. His tiny body was shaking, his face red as fire, sweating so much that his hair clung to his forehead. His eyes barely stayed open, rolling back now and then. Each breath sounded weak, dragging, like he was struggling not to fade out completely. "High fever," my mom said, desperate. "He's burning up. We're taking him to the hospital, now." I stood, frozen for a second, trying to process it. "Stay here. The house is locked. Don't open the door for anyone," my dad said before rushing out with my mom. The door slammed shut behind them, and then silence. I stared at the closed door. When I turned to head upstairs, back to the room, Tyler was already standing on the stairs, watching everything. "I'm sorry about your brother. I hope he'll be okay," Tyler said, eyes fixed on the door. We stood there in silence for a while. Then we went up to the room and sat on the mattress. The house felt emptier than ever. No little brother laughing, no footsteps from our parents. Just the muffled sound of the living room clock and our breathing. We didn't say anything, just looked at each other in silence. A silence that was broken. "I wanted to tell you." Tyler was cut off by knocks on the front door. 3 soft knocks. At that moment, fear took over. I covered my mouth with my hands. I didn't want whatever was out there to even hear me breathing. The knocks returned, always rhythmic, like whoever was outside knew what they were doing. 3 knocks. Pause. 3 knocks. Pause. I froze, heart pounding, cold sweat trailing down my neck. 1,000 thoughts ran through my head. It could be anything behind that door. A thief, a stranger, or some damn monster. But what scared me most was the thought that it could be the Masons. The doorknob turned, slowly, forcefully, locked, chain in place, but just the metallic sound of the attempt made me tremble. Then we heard the voice.
Son, it's me. Mommy forgot her purse. Open up real quick, please.
It was my mother's voice. But she shouldn't be there. I looked at Tyler, desperate. He remained still, but now clenched his fists tightly. "That's not your mom," he said through gritted teeth. "She just left in the car. There's no way." More knocking, now louder, impatient.
Sweetheart, open the door. It's cold out here.
I tried not to respond, not to react. My eyes were burning, my body shaking. She spoke with such sadness, making me feel guilty for not opening the door. Then she spoke again, with that same sweet, familiar voice, but now with a firmer, almost threatening tone.
Your little brother. He won't last much longer out in this cold.
My legs gave out. I looked at Tyler. He didn't say a word, but his eyes said everything. He was scared too. My hands moved on their own. I stood up quickly, tripping on the mattress, nearly falling, heading straight for the stairs. The purse, my mom's purse, and my brother. My mind couldn't think straight. That voice outside was hers. I had known that voice my whole life. "I have to open it," I murmured, already going down the steps, faster and faster, almost in a trance. But then a hand grabbed my arm. "Hey!" It was Tyler. "It's not her." I tried to pull away, but he gripped tighter. "Let go, Tyler. That's my mom. My brother could die if I don't open the door." I shouted, my voice breaking, almost crying. "No, it's not," he said firmly. "It's my parents." I froze. His words echoed in my head like a gunshot. For a moment, everything went silent. The voice stopped, the doorknob stilled, and I stared at the door. Then, suddenly, the knob started turning again, this time with more force, more violence. The chain rattled against the door. Bang! 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 And then a scream, an inhuman scream, a scream that tore from the throat, raw with rage and despair, a scream that revealed something monstrous. My vision blurred with tears, my mind in chaos, my body trembled from fear, anger, confusion. We returned to the bedroom after that terrible scream. I shut the door and leaned against it, my body still shaking. I sat down slowly, hands still trembling. Tyler sat beside me, but didn't say a word. He stared at the wall, lost in thought. I took a deep breath, trying to hold back the returning tears. "You knew," I said, softly, unable to look at him. He didn't answer. "From the start, you knew. When I asked about your parents, you avoided it. You lied." He didn't reply right away. He paused, looked into my eyes, breathed deeply, then spoke. "I didn't want to drag you into this. I only managed to stay here because I acted normal, like nothing had happened." He paused briefly, lowering his eyes. "I think if I had confronted them, I would have been replaced too. I thought that if I told you, you might be replaced." I stayed silent, trying to process his words. It hurt, but I understood. Tyler was scared, the same fear I was feeling now. The night dragged on. We each lay in our corners, too afraid to talk. The room felt like a refuge, but also a prison. The living room clock made sure to mark every second with that irritating tick-tock, as if mocking our attempts to ignore what was out there. At some point, sleep overtook me. I closed my eyes, even knowing it was risky, and everything faded. I woke up to a faint sound in the middle of the night. Something felt off. It took me a while to realize the mattress beside me was empty. Tyler was gone. I tried to move, but my body wouldn't respond. It was like I was trapped inside myself. That's when I saw a silhouette. Tyler was standing, his back to me, in front of the window. The curtain was slightly open, and he was whispering, low, almost inaudible, like he was talking to someone outside. My eyes burned, my mind screamed, but my body remained still. My heart raced when I heard a voice reply, weak, dragging from the other side of the glass. "You promise he'll be safe?" Tyler asked in a low, hesitant voice. There was a pause. A sound responded, a raspy, distorted voice that seemed to come from everywhere at once, even though it was faint. "Yes." My breath caught. I tried to scream, tried to move. Nothing. But you can't hurt him. Not now, not ever. Please, not him, Tyler said, and I could hear the tremble in his voice, the fear barely held back. The creature replied again, now more firmly. I promise. Tyler fell silent for a moment, then slowly nodded. Then take me. My heart stopped. He glanced over his shoulder. He saw me and knew I was listening. And still, he smiled. A sad, small smile. Then he opened the window. A cold wind swept into the room, lifting the edges of the curtain. And out there, in the darkness, a figure moved. I couldn't see the face, just the eyes. Eyes that glowed for a second before Tyler threw himself into the shadows. The window closed slowly. The curtain stopped swaying, and the room returned to silence. It took minutes before my body moved again. By then, it was all over. The next day, I saw Tyler again, but it wasn't really him. And now, he wore that cursed smile, too.